Now I told you that we should take a hard look at the musical material, the 7 swaras or the 12 swarasthanas. Now let's get to a more fundamental question. Why do we say, or how is it that we can say that there are only 7 notes or 7 plus 5 swarasthanas? Now look at the keyboard, for instance. How many frets are there? Surely more than 12. Look at the veena. The veena's fretboard has, a standard veena has 24 frets. And surely you and I can hear many more pitches than just 12. Then how is it that we are able to account for all the musical material with just this 7 plus 5 swarasthanas? Now we say sarigama padhani. Sarigama padhani, and like anybody would know, the next swara is again sa. Sarigama padhani sa. That is again sa. But it is a different pitch. It is not this, it is here. This is a different pitch. Then how is it that we are giving it the same name? And in fact it goes on ad infinitum. It goes sarigama padhani sa and so on. And on this side also sa ni dha pa. Now how is it that we are giving the same name to different pitches? Now this is possible because of a unique and very fascinating property of sound perception, how humans perceive sound. Now if for a moment we compare the phenomenon of sound with the phenomenon of light, the one thing that is common to both is that they are both a continuum. Now between one color shade and another there is a continuum. Theoretically there are infinite shades, but the human eye is able to discern the differences between some. At certain points we are able to discern the color differences and we give it names. We give them names like red, orange, blue, violet, indigo and so on. So also in sound, theoretically between any two pitches there are infinite pitches, theoretically, and even in practice. Now I say this is sa, and the next pitch on the keyboard is re, but let me try to produce a pitch between these two. Sa, re, this is the pitch here. Now this is neither there nor here, it is in between. It is just a little raised, but we don't give it the status of a swara. We don't give it any position on the keyboard. We don't use it to make music. What is happening is this: we have sa and we have re1, which is the next position in the 12 swarasthana schema. So sa, re. Now theoretically there are infinite pitches possible between these two, and in actual practice also a couple of pitches at least are discernible between these two, which is what I try to demonstrate. So let us say that there is this other pitch here which is almost re. This is certainly a pitch that we can hear. Sa, re, this is re1. Sa, re, this is almost re1. Now this position and this pitch will not be given the status of a swarasthana or a swara in the context in which sa, this sa and this re1 are swaras. as such this is a pitch, this is a musical pitch, and surely will be a swara, but only it will be a swara in another context, not in the context in which this and this are swaras. Given that this is the sa, sa, and this is the re, re. If this is sa, then that is re. Now this position, which is almost re, is not accorded the status of a swara. It could of course be a swara, only not in this context, because music is made by combining swaras, and this pitch cannot be viably combined with this sa or this re. The music essentially involves combining swaras, relating them, and these relations and how these relations sound, that is what has determined what pitches have been picked out as musical notes. It really has got to do with the harmonics of notes, which is a physical phenomenon. Now, the human ear and brain perceives sound in ratios. The relationship between one pitch and another is perceived in terms of their ratio. Now, when I say sa, sa re ga ma pa dha ni, now let me play these two notes together, this sa and this higher sa, and you can see that they are merging. I am actually playing two pitches. You can't hear two different pitches like you can if I play this. You can hear two pitches, or you can hear two pitches here or here, and here you can hear there is emergence here, and that is why this is also called sa. This, as I said, again is possible if this is say x hertz the frequency and this is 2x hertz, and we perceive it as a ratio. The ratio is perceived and we hear emergence of the two swaras, which is why we can call this swara also, this pitch is also sa, this is also re. If we compare this with perception of color, we don't see a similar phenomenon. As the wavelength increases, the colors keep moving away from each other. There is no emergence, at least as far as the human range goes. Now this space between this sa and this sa, where this note merges with the next note, that space is called a sthayi. It is called a sthayi or a sthana in Carnatic music, which corresponds to the octave in Western classical music and saptak in Hindustani music. So this position between the two sas is called one octave, or it's called a sthayi or a sthana in Carnatic music. Now we can say with a little more clarity that within one sthayi or one sthana or saptak or octave, there are 7 notes and 5 variants, although there are many more pitches within this sthana, but the musically relevant ones are, at least at a superficial level, in the case of Carnatic music, we will see later on that even the other pitches not named in these 12 swarasthanas, even many other pitches come into play. Now let me also talk about the notion of scale here. Now scale is also another very widely used word, and most of us would have heard of the expression musical scale. Now, what is a scale? A scale is an ordered set of pitches. If the pitches are in increasing frequency, are ordered in increasing frequency, then it is called an ascending scale, and if the frequencies are in a descending order, it is called a descending scale. And the corresponding terms for it in Indian music are Arohana and Avarohana. Let us look at some of the scales that are used in other kinds of music. I have a small demonstration here by Vibha. This is the major scale, C major scale. The other scale that is widely used in Western classical music is minor scale, the minor scale. The Chinese scale is pentatonic, or what it uses 5 notes. Yeah. This scale is also widely used in Indian classical music, which is Mohanam in Carnatic music and Bhoop in North Indian music. Now we just saw that in Western classical music predominantly 2 scales are used, and in Chinese music a pentatonic, or a scale that has 5 pitches, that is predominantly used. Now in Indian music, Indian classical music, we have a very large number of scales that are used widely, and there is also a rigorous system of generating scales that was put forth around the 17th century, and we will see more about this later on in the course. Now we move on to a related and perhaps slightly technical issue of the tuning of the scale. Now we have 2 ways of tuning the scale: the even tempered tuning or the just tempered or natural scale. Now, and this also revolves around ratios and intervals. Now when we say that there are 12 note positions or swarasthanas in a sthai, in an octave, now it is only natural to assume that these 12 notes are spaced at regular intervals, that is, the steps are equal, or the difference between any 2 consecutive notes is the same. But actually it is not so. The way music has naturally evolved, or what may be called the natural scale, the natural scale that the human ear naturally picks out is based on ratios, and this happens because of the physics of sound, of harmonics, and of how we perceive sound. Though the steps in the natural scale are actually uneven, so the difference between sa and the first re, and the difference between the difference between this and this, and the difference between this and this and this are not equal. They are not spaced evenly, and it is not glaringly so, it's not glaringly different, but it is enough to make a significant difference to the music making. This is a fascinating topic, and it can get pretty technical. For those who are interested, there is an interesting video at this YouTube link. You may visit it. Now, for purposes of this course, what it is necessary and sufficient to know that the steps between the note positions in a natural scale are uneven. But a keyboard or a piano or keyboard like this is tuned such that the steps are regular, and this is in response to needs of Western orchestral music. And in fact, the difference between any two note positions will be in the order of the 12th root of 2. So each step is of that order. All tones are separated by equal intervals. Now, Indian music, all Indian music, being essentially melodic, there is no room for the equal tempered or even tempered scale. We only use the natural scale. And this is also one of the reasons that a keyboard or a harmonium is inadequate, even undesirable in Carnatic or even Hindustani music for that matter. There are other accompanying reasons too, but this is one of the reasons. The next concept, what I am doing in these sessions is just covering some basic concepts so that we can enter into the realm of Carnatic music equipped with an understanding of these concepts. So another important concept is that of the Adhara Shadja. Adhara means that which bears, it's fundamental, it is the base. And Shadja is of course the name for the first note, Sa. So Adhara Shadja very simply is the tonic or the fundamental. Now, tonic is important in other musical forms too, even Western classical music. All melody has to have a strong sense of the tonic, must return to the tonic. If it doesn't, you have the sense of the melody hanging in the air, not quite returning home. But in the context of Indian music, Indian classical music specifically, Adhara Shadja has a much more significant role. The Sa is what determines the rest of the scale, and the Sa can be any pitch at all. Now I can use this as my Sa, and once I have fixed this, the rest of my scale is determined. Now I could use this as my Sa. With reference to this, the rest of the scale is determined. Or I could use a pitch between these two. The Sa is fixed according to the performer's convenience. In contrast with this, if we say what is A, for instance, in the context of Western classical music, it is a specific frequency, 440 Hertz. If we say C, that also is a particular frequency. But if we say Ga or Sa or Pa, you can't just say that it is this frequency or that. You determine the Sa. Once the Sa is determined, you have your other swaras. Now, this has an important implication that a composition in Carnatic music or Hindustani music is not tied to any particular pitch as its fundamental. The same composition can be performed with any pitch as its tonic. I may sing a composition using this as my tonic. Someone else may sing using this as a tonic, and it is the same composition. There is no problem at all here. What matters, however, is that once the particular pitch is chosen as a tonic, that has to be maintained. It cannot be changed. The tonic cannot be changed. Again, something that could happen in the context of a Western piece of music. The tonic does change sometimes and in what is called modulation. Now, another implication for this is that since a composition may be rendered by adopting any pitches at all as the fundamental or the tonic, the performer is expected to sing or perform or play the instrument with a tonic of her convenience. This also implies that there is no division of voices into types. In Western music, we have voices divided into types: soprano, tenor, baritone, and so on. There is no, it's simply irrelevant in the context of Carnatic or Hindustani music, because these voice types are based on the absolute range of the voice. So a soprano is a voice that has a range from, say, from about 261 to 880 hertz. But this is simply irrelevant. The composition, any composition, can be sung with any pitch at all as its tonic, and therefore the need for dividing voices into types simply does not arise in the context of Indian music. Now, once the sa is fixed, we have also fixed the sthai or the registers. We have 3 registers that we speak of, or 3 sthanas. Now, if this is the sa, anything below this is called the mandra sthai. Sa, ni, da, pa, and so on. That is the mandra sthai. And this sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni. This is the madhya saptak or madhya sthai. And from sa onward, from here onwards, sa and upwards, this is called the tarasthai, tarasthana. And this is the adhara shadja. Sa, and this is the madhyasthai. Sari, gama, pa, dha, ni, until this is the madhyasthai. From here, this, the higher sa onwards, this is the tarasthai. And lower, sa, ni, dha, pa, and so on. These notes indicate, these dots indicate that it is in the lower register. Now, this is the mandrasthai. And it is expected that a Carnatic vocalist should have a range from this to this, given the adhara shadja, half an octave below and 1.5 above. Many Carnatic musicians do have a range beyond this, but as far as Carnatic compositions go, this 2 octave range is quite adequate. I will now sign off with this rendition of a great composition by Tyagaraja. It is in the raga Kedara Gauli in Adi Talam. The composition demands this range, Mandra Pancham to Tara Pancham, that is a range of 2 octaves. Not all compositions demand this range, and very few demand a range beyond this. Listen to this and write to us what you think of this composition of this music. And having covered some of these fundamental concepts in these last few sessions, we are now ready to enter the portal of Carnatic music proper, and we will take up the topic of raga in our next.
तुलसी बिल्व मल्लिका आदि तुलसी बिल्व मल्लिका तुलसी बिल्व मल्लिका जलज सुममूल पूजल गैकोन्नवे तुलसी बिल्व मल्लिका जलज सुममूल पूजल गैकोन्नवे तुलसी बिल्व मल्लिका जलज सुममूल पूजल गैकोन्नवे तुलसी बिल्व मल्लिका जलज सुममूल जलज सन सनकारी करचिता जलज राज